Hello there, and welcome to tonight's episode of Forum Focus. I'm Wyatt Sharpe, and it's good to have you with us. As democratic systems face growing pressure from polarization, misinformation, and declining trust, the need for informed, ethical political leadership has never been greater. That urgency is what led to the creation of the next campaign summit, a gathering designed to really go beyond kind of the slogans and the strategy and instead focus on the purpose behind political engagement. Specifically, in my case, I'm going to be participating in the conference looking at young people's participation in the political process. And it all comes at a time when campaigns are often driven by outrage rather than ideas. This summit aims to reset the conversation, bringing together leaders, campaign professionals, and civic advocates to examine how politics can better serve voters and not just win elections. And really, behind it all is an initiative, something that is a nonprofit kind of grassroots situation. And joining me now to talk about it is Harneet Singh, one of the co founders. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Wyatt, for having me.
Of course. Let's just kind of start out with, I was telling you a little bit before we started recording, hosting the Future Voter Summit myself, something that really, I don't think people understand the level of work that goes into these types of conferences. I do mine every 18 months. You guys do multiple a year, which is very, very intense, I'm sure. So maybe just talk to us a little bit about the reason behind creating this initiative and kind of some of the origins of the story.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that question. I think, as you mentioned in your opening segment, there's a lot of need for this kind of multi-partisan discussion about the future of campaigning in general, as well as advocacy. So this journey goes back to 2024. So I had an idea. We met amazing co-founders, Brett Thalman and Hasneet, and we commonly realized it's a situation that there's a lot of talk about policy in certain conferences in Canada, and there's a lot of talks about partisanship, and there's a lot of conferences like those. But what was missing was that one platform where multi-partisan advocates and campaigners can come together and talk about the industry in general, the trends, and all the things that are impacting us today. So whether that's AI, the data revolution, the misinformation you talked about, the new technology, the tips, the tricks, there was not one platform that covered that in the detail we wanted. So we said, if nobody else is doing it, we'll do it together. So the three of us got together and we pulled off our inaugural summit in September 2024, the next campaign summit. It was a smashing success. We had over 350 people join, completely sold out, and we had some of the biggest tier corporations join us. Everybody from Microsoft to TikTok, some of the biggest campaign strategists. And as you would recall, that happened right when there was a lot of talk about an early election.
Right.
So the timing of the event was pretty good, which led us to our next event, which happened right close to that, which was the February 2025 tech showcase event we did in Brampton. And the interesting part of that was it was on the heels of a surprise Ontario provincial election. So the timing of our events have been pretty interesting, I would say. And we've been lucky that we were able to pull those off. And now we are back with the third summit, the biggest ever. So we're very excited. But as you said, it's a lot of work. And it's actually not the core focus for the three of us. We all have our own companies, we all do our own stuff. But this event brings us together and brings about 400 of the campaign strategists, the advocates, the thought leaders, the change makers together in one room for one day. And that's the exciting part about the next campaign summit.
I wonder too, just to kind of give people a picture of what issues might be discussed, because obviously people and there's talk kind of a potential spring election. We just had one in April, but potentially another one could be coming up. And I wonder, I mean, you mentioned artificial intelligence, kind of with this revolutionizing in the way that people campaign with digital platforms and social media as well. It seems as if there's so much happening at one. Maybe talk us through how people should navigate it all.
Absolutely. I think some of the topics you touched upon, these are the important burning topics that people want to talk about. So, coming after a big federal election, a focus of the event, of course, is to recap what happened in the 2025 federal election. I mean, this was an election which I think we'll be talking about this election for a very long time.
Hmm.
You had one party which had the lead for a very long time, and then they fell behind. You had a new leader for the Liberal Party of Canada, and then they became the prime minister. So I think that whole process is very interesting. So we will definitely be recapping that. We'll also be talking about the Ontario provincial election, which happened, again, a third kind of majority victory for the
Right.
provincial progressive conservatives. We'll talk about that. So we'll recap the big events. We have some of the movers and shakers from those campaigns come to our event, and they'll be talking about the insights and the behind the scenes. Of course, then the conversation will move over to the topics of the future, which is artificial intelligence, How is that impacting the campaigns as of today? And how will that shape the campaigns of the future? That's going to be a big
Right.
topic. Political advertising. I think if you've noticed the record advertising spend we've seen across the country, we're talking about that social media, long form content, new
Okay.
media, including yourself. These are the kind of topics we want to talk about at that conference.
Okay, we do have to take a quick break, but Harneet Singh is going to be back with us after this. Stay with us.